Imagine a galaxy where destiny is not shaped by ancient prophecies, but by engineered giants who were never meant to fail. A realm where the force trembles not because of balance being broken, but because something enters its domain that was never supposed to exist. Picture the moment when a single drop pod tears through hyperspace, blazing like a fragment of a forgotten war. Its hull scorched, its transhuman passenger silent. As it crashes onto a desert world beneath twin suns, something impossible occurs. The Star Wars galaxy encounters a warrior who was forged for unending conflict. Stronger than any clone, faster than any bounty hunter, and resistant to every fear the galaxy understands. This is not a Jedi, not a Sith, not a creature of the Force. This is an Astartes, an apex product of biological command and engineered willpower, arriving in a universe that has never seen war at this scale, and the galaxy will not remain the same. When the Astartes rises from the impact crater, the sands around him melt from the heat of his ceramite armor. Tatooine's wind sweeps across his towering frame as villagers stare from a distance, unable to comprehend what stands before them. They see no lightsaber, no visible power source, just a living weapon sculpted from discipline and relentless conditioning. The local scavengers whisper that perhaps he is a new type of droid. Others fear he is a silent enforcer of the Empire. Yet the truth is far stranger. He is a warrior, bred in a universe where battle is eternal and retreat is unthinkable. His presence disrupts the desert's quiet equilibrium. Womp rats scatter, Tusken raiders halt their patrols, and even bounty hunters sense something predatory moving across the dunes. This being does not simply arrive, he radiates command, as if every heartbeat carries the memory of countless sieges and impossible victories. Unlike Force users, whose power flows from unseen cosmic currents, the Astartes relies on precision, conditioning, and engineered superiority. His vision tracks motion far beyond normal human limits. His secondary organs regulate heat, toxins, and impact. Even his reflexes operate at speeds that challenge blaster calculations. When a group of Tusken raiders ambushes him, their attack becomes a silent demonstration. Blaster bolts streak toward him, yet he pivots, deflecting energy across his pauldron as though it were dust. A raider charges with a staff, only to find himself lifted and thrown without effort. There is no anger, no emotion, only method. The Astartes observes them not as enemies, but as environmental obstacles to be neutralized. The village watches from afar, realizing that this warrior fights with no reliance on mystical energy fields or ancient traditions. For the first time, they witness combat where discipline alone becomes a force of its own. Far across the outer rim, Imperial sensors detect the energy signature of the crash. Darth Vader stands aboard a Star Destroyer, studying the unusual readings, dense biosigns wrapped in an armor pattern unknown to the galaxy. Not a droid, he notes. Not a clone. Something engineered. The Emperor's advisors speculate that this may be a new rebel experiment. Others fear it could be a forgotten artifact from a previous era. But Vader senses something different. Purpose, a being whose existence is not shaped by the Force, but by structure, doctrine, and unbreakable intention. He orders a detachment to retrieve the warrior, alive if possible. Vader seeks to understand this anomaly, for any threat that exists outside the Force cannot be manipulated, predicted. Meanwhile, the Rebel Alliance intercepts Imperial chatter. They too detect the crash, but their analysts reach a different conclusion. They believe the Empire is hunting a new weapon, perhaps a prototype super soldier. General Organa orders a reconnaissance cell to reach the site first. As rebel scouts approach the village where the Astartes was last seen, they find signs of combat that defy explanation. Tuscan weapons snapped cleanly in half, blaster marks melted into rock, footprints far deeper than any human could make. The locals describe a towering armored figure who moved with frightening calm. The rebels quickly realize they are not dealing with a machine. They are dealing with something alive, something capable of turning the tide of whichever side it chooses. Yet none of them can predict what the warrior himself desires, for he was not created to serve factions. He was created to serve purpose. The Astartes reaches the outskirts of Mos Eisley. The city buzzes with smugglers, droids, traders, and wanderers. Yet every creature instinctively steps aside as he passes. His armor reflects neon signs, his heavy footsteps echo against the Durasteel streets, and every bounty hunter senses that approaching him would be a mistake. In the cantina, conversations fall silent. Blasters lower. Even species known for aggression hesitate. Bartender quietly signals that he carries no trouble, but the Astartes merely scans the room for information. His gene-forged mind processes languages, threats, exits, and resources in seconds. A Rhodian attempts to judge his armor's value, but the warrior's gaze alone freezes him. This galaxy does not know what to do with an apex soldier who neither boasts nor threatens. He simply exists as the embodiment of warfare. And in that silence, fear grows faster than rumor. Eventually, a group of stormtroopers enters the cantina, searching for the anomaly reported in the sector. They attempt to question him, but the Astartes remains unmoved. His armor identification does not match any known Imperial unit. Their scanners fail to penetrate his plate. One trooper shifts nervously. Even through their helmets, they feel the pressure of standing near him. A commanding officer orders him to stand down for inspection. The Astartes steps forward, not to fight, but to leave. The officer panics and reaches for his blaster. The Astartes reacts instantly. A single calculated movement disarms the trooper, crushes the weapon, and forces the squad to retreat. No casualties, no wasted motion. The stormtroopers report a hostile unknown super soldier, and for the first time, the Empire understands this entity does not fear them. He simply does not consider them a threat. When Vader finally arrives on Tatooine, he follows the trail of disturbance the Astartes unintentionally left behind. He finds discarded Imperial weapons, bent out of shape, armor cracked under impacts inconsistent with any known rebel fighter. He enters the cantina, where silence falls again. Vader questions the patrons, but the Astartes left no words, only impressions. Vader senses nothing through the Force, not a ripple, not a signature, as if this warrior exists outside the cosmic network entirely. This absence is unsettling. A being who cannot be sensed, cannot be predicted. A being who cannot be predicted, cannot be controlled. Vader commands a full planetary search. Across the sands, probe droids deploy like metallic insects, scanning every dune. But the Astartes has already moved toward the mountains, studying structures, civilizations, and potential threats. He navigates this galaxy with soldierly detachment, yet a growing curiosity. This galaxy wages war, but not like his. Rebel scouts finally locate him in a rocky canyon. Instead of raising weapons, they speak, calmly, cautiously. They attempt to explain their cause, their struggle, their desire for freedom from Imperial rule. The Astartes listens, analyzing their objective, structure, and morale. They fight for ideals, for equity across systems. Their battles rely on fragile supply lines, improvisation, and alliances. To him, it resembles a conflict lacking unified doctrine, but rich in resolve. A commander steps forward, offering him a chance to join their rebellion. But the Astartes does not operate on persuasion. He is not swayed by speeches or emotion. He asks only one question: which side protects humanity's future? The commander is stunned. In a galaxy filled with species, cultures, and politics, the question feels strangely narrow, yet profoundly purposeful. The Astartes is not choosing a faction. He is choosing a direction. Before the rebels can answer, Imperial transports appear overhead. Troopers deploy rapidly, surrounding the canyon. The Astartes moves faster than both factions expect. He pushes the rebels into cover, not out of loyalty, but tactical necessity. The Empire opens fire. Blaster bolts saturate the area, but the Astartes charges forward, reducing distance faster than targeting arrays can adjust. He impacts the front line like a meteor. Stormtroopers fall, stunned or incapacitated by calculated strikes. Their armor shatters under precise gauntlet impacts. Their formation collapses before the rebels even fire a shot. A heavy repeating blaster opens fire from a ridge, but the Astartes dodges patterns of energy through prediction, not instinct. When he reaches the ridge, the gunner attempts to retreat. He fails. The Astartes disables the weapon, ensuring minimal casualties. In minutes, an entire Imperial detachment is routed. Both sides stare in disbelief, not at brutality, but at efficiency. News spreads quickly across the outer rim. Cantina whispers turn into sector-wide rumors. A warrior stronger than Imperial machines, a giant who fights without the Force, a soldier who fears nothing. Smugglers speculate he might be an escaped experiment. Bounty hunters flock toward the region, hoping to claim him as a prize. The Hutt cartels grow curious. Even the Inquisitors express concern. Meanwhile, the Astartes studies every faction from afar. He watches the Empire, noting its hunger for control. He observes the rebels, noting their hope but lack of resources. Neither side resembles the structured war councils he was trained to follow. To him, this galaxy is fragmented, brilliant, diverse, but scattered. And within this fragmentation lies opportunity. The Astartes begins mapping potential unification strategies, not to conquer, but to reinforce stability. Because in his worldview, disorder invites annihilation. Eventually, fate draws him to a hidden rebel command site. There, he encounters Leia, who questions his intentions with unwavering resolve. She has heard of his feats, but she needs clarity. Are you here to help us, or simply to test us? The Astartes examines her command posture, leadership under pressure, and clarity of objective. He recognizes strength, not in physical power, but in ability to inspire. He explains that his loyalty is not purchased by promises, but earned through alignment of vision. The rebels seek structural improvement, logistical discipline, training, and unity, the very principles upon which he was raised. Leia offers him a position, not as a soldier, but as an advisor, a strategist, a stabilizer. For the first time in this galaxy, someone speaks to him, not as a weapon, but as a leader. He accepts, not allegiance, but cooperation. Under his guidance, rebel operations transform. Troopers enhance discipline, tighten formations, and learn to predict Imperial tactics. They train in squads, synchronizing movement like a single body. Supply lines stabilize. Morale strengthens, not through speeches, but through results. Even seasoned rebel commanders realize they are fighting differently, fighting smarter. When the Empire attacks a supply depot, the rebels repel them with unprecedented coordination. Rumors spread that the rebellion now possesses an unstoppable commander. Imperial analysts scramble to understand his methods, but their data fails to match any known doctrine. Vader grows increasingly frustrated. Each encounter with the rebels now feels prepared, anticipatory, as if an unseen strategist counters him move for move. He does not yet know that the warrior from the crater now stands behind rebel victories, silent, calculating, and unyielding. Vader eventually confronts the Astartes on a remote moon during a raid. The two titans face each other, one empowered by the Force, the other crafted through discipline and engineered superiority. Vader ignites his crimson blade, its glow reflecting off ceramite armor. The Astartes does not flinch. He scans stance, weapon length, movement potential. Vader strikes first, expecting the warrior to fall like any other. But the Astartes pivots, using terrain and predictive modeling to avoid the blade's path. Sparks fly as saber meets pauldron, carving a shallow mark, but failing to disable him. He counters not with rage, but precision. Their duel becomes a clash of philosophies, mystical power versus perfected structure. Vader feels something unsettling. His opponent does not fear him, not even slightly. And in that moment, Vader realizes that the Force is not the only path to mastery. The duel ends not with death, but with a shockwave from a collapsing structure forcing separation. Vader retreats, recognizing that continuing the battle would risk capture or tactical disadvantage. The Astartes does not pursue. Pursuit without purpose is wasteful. As he returns to the rebel lines, he reflects not on victory, but on observation. He has seen the power of this galaxy, the strength of its people, and the fragility of its systems. And he understands that his role is not to dominate or replace them. It is to elevate them, forge resilience where there was fragmentation. The rebellion sees hope growing not from destiny, but from preparation. The Astartes sees potential evolving not from prophecy, but from structure. This galaxy may not have been designed for him, yet it is one he can help reshape. As wars intensify across the galaxy, the legend of the armored giant spreads. Some say he is a guardian. Others claim he is the rebellion's secret victory engine. But he knows the truth. He is a singular variable that altered the trajectory of a universe built on ancient cycles. The Astartes stands atop a cliff, overlooking a battlefield, watching rebel and Imperial ships clash across the sky. He does not see chaos. He sees opportunity, a galaxy on the brink of forging its own discipline. The future will not be shaped by mysticism alone, nor by engineered strength alone. It will be shaped by intention, unity, and willpower. As he walks into the rising sun of a world far from his origin, one truth becomes clear. This galaxy may change him, but he has already begun to change it.